I'm good? All right, y'all ready to roll? All right, let's do it. All right, we are looking at the topic of truth, and to be honest with you, I probably should have done this second. It should have been separation of church and state and then right into truth, because this is like the biggest topic that we're going to be looking at. This is probably, I know, some people will think other topics are really important. This is foundational to every topic that we're going to be looking at. So it probably would have been good to start with this one, but we're doing it now. We're looking at truth. What is truth? Is truth objective? Is there such a thing as objective truth, or is it all subjective? That sort of thing. But I wanted to play a game just for fun in the beginning of this, but I'm going to open in prayer and then we're going to roll into the game. And I'll show you a picture and you have to tell me who it is in that picture. All right? So please pray with me. Lord, we come before you and we give you this time, this space, and we ask that you would be with us, that you would guide our conversations and our hearts and minds. In your name, amen. All right, so I'm going to show you a picture, and here is the first picture. All right. Milli Vanilli. I grew up with them. I bought their CD. For anybody who does not know who Milli Vanilli is, can somebody tell me why they're famous?
The good reason or the bad reason?
We'll go with the bad one.
Okay, they were accused of lip syncing and not really singing, but they were arranged by the management to do it that way because they could sing. But the people that sang were not attractive, and these guys were attractive, so that's why they did that.
Yeah. So are you familiar with the song "Video Killed the Radio Star"? Yeah. So when MTV came out, that destroyed a lot of potential singers because they were not attractive people, and attractive people sell. And so what they did was they had a group that sang songs, and then they just inserted these guys, and they sold like crazy, but they weren't actually singing. So it was not true. Everybody got mad about it. They gave refunds. They had like burnings of all their stuff. Like, it was nuts. One of them's dead now. Both are dead now? Yeah, real Milli Vanilli fan over here. I mean, I gotta say, Mary, of all the people, I didn't have you pegged as the Milli Vanilli fan. I thought maybe Aaron, maybe. Were you a fan? Yeah. But not on the level of Mary, obviously.
What?
What?
Yeah, I figured you would.
How many do you have?
A lot.
All right, okay, that's Milli Vanilli. Let's move on to the next one. Anybody know who that fine-looking gentleman is?
Al Roker.
That's skinny Al Roker. That's even skinnier than Al Roker got when he was skinny. All right, this guy's a pastor in a large church. His name is Reverend Dr. Jamal Bryant. He's famous. He's on TV quite a bit. And the reason that I put him up here is because of the title doctor. And this is just me being the snobbish person that I am. Jamal Bryant has a D-Min, which is a Doctor of Ministry, which is a very easy degree to get. It's a cakewalk. It will take you about 3 years, but it's not all that hard. It is not a PhD. Dr. Jamal Bryant cannot teach at a university because he has a professional doctorate rather than an academic doctorate. Now, there are lots of people who have that, but they generally don't refer to themselves as doctor. But Jamal Bryant does. So that's why he's up there. Number 2. Number 3.
Oh, God.
Oh, that's the Bud Light shit.
That's one way to put it.
You want to call her a chick?
So this is Dylan Mulvaney, and by the way, this table over here is just destroying y'all. They know all these people. This is Dylan Mulvaney, obviously, the Bud Light thing. So you got that one. Okay, there's only 3 more, all right? All right, so obviously got a lot of pushback because Dylan Mulvaney is biologically male, presents female. So you got that. All right.
Oh, that's that scumbag Santos.
Yeah.
George Santos. Why did George Santos run into problems?
Because he's a liar.
What did he lie about?
Everything.
Well, give me some examples. Give me a for instance.
His academic degree.
His academic degree. Okay, where did he say he went to school?
Doesn't matter.
I can't remember where he said he went to school. So he lied about his academics, he lied about his professional career as well, and took a lot of heat on both of those and has now been removed from his position. Congressman? Congress? Yeah? All right. All right, so 2 more left. NWA. All right. Now, this one's really interesting because what did NWA start? They were the first who started this. Now, there's rappers before NWA. What?
Gangster rap.
Gangster rap. Gangster rap is what they're known for, right? All right. Who is this? Come on, this is Eazy-E. I grew up with NWA. These are my peeps. So, like, seriously, I absolutely love this. This is Eazy-E. Eazy-E is actually a gangster. Like, he was a gangster before joining the band. You don't know who that is? You're not going to know who that is. That's DJ Yella, and that's MC Ren, who you're not going to know. But these other 2 fine fellas you're certainly going to know. Who is this? All right, that's Ice Cube, and above him is Dr. Dre. And there's where you run into problems, because Ice Cube and Dr. Dre are not gangsters at all. And they've taken a lot of heat over it in their careers because they have put themselves forward as gangsters, but they're not gangsters. The other 3 were, but those 2, and they're 2 of the most famous, were not actually gangsters. And so, moving on from there. Oh, shoot, I forget her name. What's that?
Wasn't she like the NAACP?
Yeah, she was the head of the NAACP in Spokane, Washington. Why would that be a problem? She's white. That's actually her. Growing up. So this is Rachel Dolezal. Dolezal? Well, let's just put it up there.
Is that the same person?
Yeah, it's the same person. She darkened her skin. She reversed Michael Jackson did. She darkened her skin, and then she got like a perm, and she made herself look black. And people bought into it until problems came up, and then people started looking into it, and they found out that she's not black at all. Like there's no black in her, and then this is what she actually looked like as a kid. So she ran into problems with that. All these people ran into some sort of problems in their life, and all of it goes back to they did not present themselves to the American people truthfully. They were presenting an image of what they wanted to be, And as a result, you got backlash from the culture. So all of this to say is that it turns out that truth does seem to matter in certain circumstances. We seem to have a vested interest in truth, and if you present yourselves in a manner that is not who you are, then that is going to get you in some sort of trouble. Does that make sense? Anybody want to push back on that? Truth in that regard matters. So, is that the case all the time, though? Do we have this high regard for all truth? What kind of truth do we not have a high regard for culturally? Because I promise you, if you put yourself out there in a manner that does not reflect who you actually are, and you become famous, you're going to pay a price for that.
No video evidence.
But there are truths that are open to more interpretation. Like the whole case of Rachel was, I feel black, right? Is that enough? What about Dylan Mulvaney? I feel like a woman. Is that enough? Or Ice Cube, I feel like a gangster. I'm hanging out with gangsters. Obviously, that should give me some gangster credit. Is it enough to just feel like something, or is there some sort of truth that says you actually have to be that thing, and that matters? Because it seems culturally that is where we're at, that you have to be that thing, or you're going to wound up in trouble. Now, obviously, different groups attack different ones of these people. But, so there does seem to be some sort of truth. How about moral truth? Do we have the same enthusiasm for moral truth? At times. Sometimes. And is sometimes a problem. Like if moral truth can just, float around out there, and it can be whatever you think that it is that a problem? Because a lot of people don't think that that's a problem. So,
The country it might be, Todd, but not everybody.
Yeah.
We're kind of split here. In fact, on the other one, the truth of how you feel. Come on, for half of us, yeah, we're saying take a DNA test, and so no, it's not. For half of us, it goes one way or the other way. Truth is truth.
yes, but even it really depends. Like, let's go up here. Okay, let's take Rachel. Who got mad at Rachel? Yeah, black people. Who got mad at George?
Everybody.
That's not true. That's not true, because there's over 100 people that voted to keep him in Congress.
That's because they're
That's
idiots.
politics, yeah. But the point is that is politics trumping truth? Are we allowing?
Sure is.
What you just said?
Yeah, that's because I do not allow a man to take over an entire language. Like, Trump actually has meaning. It means to go above something else. And I'm not going to say, well, I can't use that word anymore because there's somebody who has that name. I don't care. But it is funny. So, but you do have politics taking priority over in the case of George. How about Dylan? Do you have politics taking over priority?
It was a little bit of both, I think, but it was mostly the people discussing.
That was more.
Because it was financial. when they all turned on Budweiser.
Well, not everybody turned on Budweiser. Some people bought more Budweiser.
99% of them. Their sales went down, just like Walmart.
Yes.
You're the minority.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So we'll return back to the people, but I want to use them as examples going through this the whole time. So moral truth is going to raise a bunch of questions. And these are all questions that you and I have to wrestle with, like, is there such a thing as objective moral truth? Can we know moral truth? So maybe there's a thing like moral truth, but we don't have the ability to know whether it is morally true or not. Where does it come from? Is it relative or objective? All of these things matter. So let's play another game, and this one will make it even more controversial. So let's see how much controversy we can throw into one room, okay? So here's another game. I'm going to play a moral dilemma game with you, and here's the game. Stealing is wrong. Anybody object? No objections. Not one. All right. I'm going to add a qualifier to it. Here's the qualifier. Stealing is wrong, but there are people not getting SNAP benefits right now. Now is stealing wrong. Universally.
Still stealing.
Does anybody want to push back on this and say, no, I think under certain circumstances when you're facing hardship, you can steal because of this?
No.
Nobody? No? Do you know a lot of people do?
And they put it on YouTube.
What?
Well, that one lady put it on TikTok, she got on.
Not just one lady. There's a whole lot.
She was pulling out everything she had picked up from the store because she couldn't afford it because she didn't understand. And she had a big pouch purse, and she sat in front of the camera and was telling people what look at these ribs I got, look at this pork ribs I got, look at these cans of goods. And I'm going,
All right. So nobody believes under hardship. So there's no Robin Hood fans out here?
Well, it's understandable, but it's still wrong.
Second cup of
Still
coffee.
don't agree with
That's
it.
it.
I mean, you can understand sometimes why somebody would do that, but it's still wrong. It's still morally wrong.
Okay, let's go with Britt's definition. It's understandable, but it's still wrong. Okay? Does anybody want to jump on the boat with Britt?
It's still illegal.
Nobody ever gets on the boat.
Okay. Who's on the boat with Britt?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there we go. Okay. It's still wrong. We can still put the wrong title on there, but it is understandable. Okay? That's what we're going to say? Okay, so now I'm going to put another qualifier on it. And I want to see if it changes. What if they're no longer stealing from Walmart? What if they're stealing from you?
That's really.
Everybody just got off my boat.
Well, we know that it's still wrong, but is it now understandable?
No.
No, the rats just left the boat.
Are you still in your boat?
No, I jumped over.
Okay, Britt's out the boat. Everybody, is anybody still in the boat? Kent?
You're comparing two different things. You're talking about food with people's basic needs, but a car is not a basic need. That's a cart.
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 It's a car. Okay.
It's a thing. It's an actual thing where you will come out of the store after shopping and 3 people will surround you. 2 will prevent you from doing anything while the 3rd takes your cart and loads it in their car. And that is part of what is being presented as this is what we're going to do. So, yes, it becomes understandable when it's a corporation like Walmart. But what if you scaled that down and you made it, now they're not stealing from Walmart, they're stealing from me.
Same thing, if it's understandable, they're stealing because they're not getting their SNAP benefits and they fear starvation. I think the victim is not the issue.
Ooh.
You're pushing it to, I would say to, call me crazy, I would say to an African extreme. I people are starving in Africa. I don't know a single person that has starved to death in the United States. Ever.
That's another qualifier.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
churches and food banks and things that people can go to.
There's a million ways that you can get
Million ways to
food.
get food. There's no reason
Oh.
to steal
And
from
so often,
anybody.
those who need it most are not the ones stealing.
No, it's.
They're the ones that are
They
just
have-
mad because
They'll get help somehow or the other, or they won't, but they're not the ones stealing. It's those who can get away with, like, look at these ribs, look at this, that, yeah, no,
yeah.
it's still morally wrong.
Yeah, it's
Anything
wrong.
like that.
Stealing. No, there's no.
So it's always wrong.
Yes.
It's our table.
What if it's from Walmart and they don't have food?
It's still wrong.
It's still wrong.
There are ways to get food without stealing.
Okay.
There's legal ways to get it without stealing.
This is what you're going to run into when you're talking about the ideas of objective truth versus relative truth. And what the moral dilemma was set up to do was to see how far can you push it till people enter into relative truth? How bad can it be till you say, yes, stealing is wrong, but... And it appears as though this is a very moral group of people. All right, so let's look at relative truth. So we're going to start defining what relative truth actually looks like. And relativism, ethical relativism is the idea that what is morally right or wrong depends on cultural, societal, or individual perspectives. So it is whatever is right, whatever is wrong is dependent either on the culture that you're in or your individual ideas. And so you can either go along with the culture or you can come up with your own ideas of what is morally right. And we'll flesh this out much more. This means that different cultures or people may have different views on what is ethical, and there is no single universal moral standard that applies to everyone. That is relativism. And it sounds like we don't have any relativism here. Sounds like it's all objective truth. Yeah? Is that fair? All right, so this is what relativism is. So there's two types, though. And the two types are, one is cultural, and I'll give you an example of this right there. There are cultures where polygamy is considered a moral good, where it is practiced, where it happens. Now, that doesn't happen in our culture. So what you have is, it is relative to the culture that it is in. So in the United States, we do not practice polygamy, but in other cultures they do. That would be an example of relative morality, but that's cultural based. Does that make sense? So another example of this is that when Christians went to Africa, a lot of African today. When Christians went to Africa and they brought the gospel to Africa, the biggest barrier that stood in their way of presenting Christ to Africans was polygamy. Because they brought it as, this is bad, and this is a standard practice. They still practice it today. Christians in Africa still practice polygamy. In some groups, not all of them, but in some groups they still do. The biggest barrier, because it's a cultural idea over there that isn't here. Britt, you? No? All right.
No, I just think it's interesting.
Individual relativism is what I'm more interested in. And individual relativism is, let's take this room and we say, we all believe that stealing is wrong, except this table. This table has decided, we don't think that stealing is wrong in all cases, and there's lots of instances where stealing could be done and it's not wrong. And that is moral relativism. So Britt would look at Conrad and he'd say, that's true for you, but it's not true for me. Have you heard that phrase? Yeah? This is moral relativism. So we're going to focus on individual relativism rather than comparing cultures. And so that will be our focus. So relative truth is largely based on individual viewpoint. And so because we have different viewpoints of reality, what we find is that reality changes for whoever we are. So like if you were to track through, and here's one of the main things that I want you to grab onto. If you were to track through every politically charged idea, concept that's out there, just track through whatever it is, what you're going to find are two groups of people who are looking at the same thing through a different lens. And I can promise you, for the most part, none of them are evil. They're just looking at it through a different lens. Relative truth opens up a variety of lenses for you and I to look at things and to say, I believe this, I don't believe this, and that sort of thing. What we end up doing is we end up joining a group that aligns with the way that we see things, right? These are my people. I become part of them because they see the world through the same lens that I see the world through. And I disagree with them because they see it through a different lens. John?
Relative truth is not factual. Dylan Mulvaney, he's a female. He's not a female. He's a biological male. He identifies as a female. His relevant truth is that he's a female, but it's not factual.
That's true. They would say it doesn't matter.
That's the relative truth. They want to bend the truth.
Because they're looking at it through the lens of relative truth. And so they're adding in components that we generally are not adding in. And so here's what they're adding in. Why does it harm you?
They should say relative perspective and not truth, because truth
Well,
is
yeah,
not defined that way.
we're going to talk about that in like 2 slides. Because you're 100% correct on that. So look at it this way. Look at it this way. Tax the rich. Okay? Does anybody have a problem with tax the rich?
Let's hit them up.
Okay. Who has a problem with tax the rich? Okay. All right. We're finally
You're out of the
divided.
table here.
We're finally being, there's some honesty coming out here. I like it. Okay, tax the rich. Now, let me bring this up for you. You got people that make $50,000 a year. You got people that make $100,000 a year. You got people that make $500,000 a year, $1 million, and billionaires. My question to you is, who is the rich?
I thought all of them.
Oh, yeah. It could be, actually, yeah. Who is the rich? Because I can tell you that if you make $50,000 a year, you're probably looking at all the other groups as them. And if you make $500,000 a year, I can promise you, you're going to start here. Not here. Right?
The rich is anybody that makes more than I do.
Anybody that makes more. Because that immediately becomes your perspective. And it's relative. It's relative to what? To how much you make. If you made this, you would only be saying billionaires are the problem, right? And if you made billions, then you're immediately going to say, well, those billionaires, not me, because I'm doing good stuff with my billions. The point is that it's all based on your perspective where you are. There's no objective truth that we're applying that says this is the line. If you go past this, you are rich. We're all just using our own imaginations, right? Like when the news says tax the rich, everybody is imagining some sort of number in their mind, and that number is different, isn't it? And I can tell you that right now, I am the rich. Like the 23-year-old me wanted me today taxed. Like, because I have arrived.
You were wearing earrings back then too.
I mean, I had a lot of problems. But it's all based on perspective because it's all relative. So there's no objective. This is the number that says you're rich. And so everybody is imagining a number, but I can promise you that the number is more than they currently make. And that is just what we have a tendency to do. So who are the rich depends on the viewpoint. Here's the deal with relativism. And this is probably the most important thing that we're going to look at. Supporters of ethical relativism believe this promotes tolerance and a better understanding for diverse moral views. So what they're saying is that you can look out at the world, you can see a diversity of moral views, and this promotes peace. Because we all have different views, and I can look at somebody and I can say, well, I don't agree with that, but if you want to do that, that's fine. That's fine for you, but it's not for me. The promise of relativism is that it promotes peace. The problem with it is that it actually creates a war of ideas because there's no standard. And once you remove the standard, what is the standard? What you end up with is, particularly in the United States, we're going to talk about it through the lens of the United States, what you end up with is two groups who have different ideas, who are warring against one another over those ideas. Not appealing to an objective standard, but appealing to their belief. So what they want is not you to fall into some mysterious objective belief, but they want you to come to their side. We're going to convince you, bring you over to our side. So this is what you have right now. You have Democrats, you have Republicans who are warring over ideas. Not to bring you to an objective reality, but to bring you to their side. And if you follow through politics, you can see this. It's just it's like a yo-yo, so right now you have Donald Trump as your president, and everything is shifting right. Well, in 3 years, you're going to have a new president. What happens when you get a new president and that president is a Democrat? And you're just going to shift left. And it just keeps doing this over and over and over. It's like a little dance that we're doing. It just keeps shifting because what's actually taking place is not peace. It's a war of ideas that you have to win them to your side or force it upon other people. And that is what you see. So when there's a Republican as president, who gets angry? The Democrats get angry. When there's a Democrat as president, the Republicans get angry. They're not necessarily angry at the people, they're angry at the ideas that are shifting this way or shifting that way. So it's all that relativism does is it creates this war of ideas that you and I are stuck in forever until we abandon relativism. And as long as we're stuck in relativism, then we're going to keep going down this road. So relative truth slogan is, you've heard my truth? Yeah. So this is getting to John's point. My truth, your truth. I'll be honest with you, anytime I hear people say my truth or your truth, I just immediately check out of the conversation. I'm done. I have no interest in talking about your truth or my truth. I am more interested in the truth. That is what I care about. That is what I am after. But when you go into relativism, what you're doing is Brett has his truth, I have my truth, and the scam of the whole thing is that we pretend that Brett can have his truth and I can have my truth and we can live together in harmony. And that doesn't work. Because eventually, Brett is going to demand that his truth become my truth. And I'm going to demand that my truth become his truth. How does that work out? What's that?
It doesn't work in court.
It doesn't work in court. So we end up with very different ideas, and we think that we can hold these two things together. So let's go back to Dylan Mulvaney. So Dylan Mulvaney can say, I am a woman. Great. And I can say, I don't care. Have fun. But there will come a time where Dylan Mulvaney will make me care that he is a woman. When will that time be?
When he goes into the bathroom.
When is that?
When he tries to marry your son.
Don't do that to me. Don't do this to me. No, you're all right. Because, again, this is what I want you to see. Everything that's taking place goes back to this idea. So the bathrooms goes back to this idea. Pronouns goes back to this idea. All this is a group of people saying, okay, we're going to believe this, and you can believe that, but eventually you get to a point where one group, or probably both, will say, now I need you to do this. And then it becomes your problem. And so, like, I could care less what Dylan Mulvaney does. Go, dress up, have a ball, go out. But when it becomes an issue is when it starts infringing on the other group that does not affirm that. And it almost always does. You can go back to gay marriage, same thing. So, two men want to get married, great. So they go off, they get married. But eventually it's going to come home and it's going to say, you have one of these and we would like to get married, therefore you have to do it. And now it's my problem. Like, I don't care what you do. So relativism is this idea that we can live in harmony, but all that it really does is create more and more conflict, because these are complicated issues. And eventually they start moving out and they start touching on every single person. Britt.
I have a question. There is, you were talking about standards, or what is a standard, or moral standard. Can relative truth still have to live up to a standard? For instance, when we were talking about stealing from Walmart, and I said, well, it's wrong. Morally, it is wrong. It's against the law. You're going to go to jail. And I said, but it's understandable because I'm starving. This person is starving and doesn't have any money, doesn't have any stamps, whatever. There's still a standard to all that. For instance, the standard is still, it's wrong and you're going to jail, my friend. You know, so even if you try and the relatives truth stuff, you're going to have to face a standard at some point. Is that?
Do you know why everything's locked up in Walgreens?
Well, yeah. People.
It's bigger than just people steal. Why is it locked up?
Profitability.
Control.
They want to make money.
They want to make money, yeah. So they lock it up because they're not going to arrest you. You can go and take whatever you want. You can go to you can go to Target. You can walk through Target. You can take whatever you want out of Target. Nobody's going to stop you. They're not allowed to. They're not allowed to.
But you have to reach a certain level if you have that kind
They
of.
lock it up because they're not going to stop you from stealing stuff. They're just not. Now, when I was a kid, I got busted for stealing stuff. They used to do it, but they don't anymore.
They don't have people that stop you from,
They do.
what do you call it?
Cameras,
What do you call it?
security
They
cameras.
do.
Shoplifting. That people don't stop you when you shoplift?
They can't stop you.
It depends on the store.
And it depends on the amount that you
If
steal.
they have security, yes, they can, because like my public store actually has a police officer at it that comes in during certain hours to work to stop people from
Yeah,
stealing.
if they have a police officer, but most stores don't have police officers.
Security people.
Yeah.
We don't have a
Security
police
people,
officer.
supposedly.
We do have a security person, and then we have to watch them, and as employees, we can't do anything, only management can. And when
Yeah.
management gets involved, they call the police and get the police over there, and while the security detains them. So there is a process, but you have to have the right people in place to follow that process.
And the process is so long that if you're a thief, you're gone. Like, it's too hard to stop people. So, okay.
Sorry.
I think it's become too hard, and that has become the rule because it's happening so frequently. There's such a greater volume of it that the stores just said it's too dangerous to ask our employees to try to intervene.
That's
That's
true
sad.
too, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
sad.
yeah.
The moral.
And you can't do
our
citizen
society
arrest
have-
anymore
have-
because you'll get sued.
You'll get shot.
You'll get worse than sued.
Citizens arrest.
All right.
That,
So once I hear the phrase, I just completely tune out. I have no interest. And this is going to get to John's point that he brought up earlier. You could say, in my opinion, my belief, my idea, but the moment that you insert my truth, what you're communicating there is something that does not exist. And so I immediately check out of that conversation. I don't need any of that. Okay, anybody read this book? It is The Closing of the American Mind by Ellen Bloom. And this book put out that 90% of college students going to university are already convinced of the concept of relative truth. They're already convinced of that when they arrive at the university. And the university, after 4 years of being in the university, they're even more committed to the idea when they graduate. So 90% is a really high number. The main argument of the book is that the thing that the American mind is close to is the idea of objective truth. Now, what should blow you away about this book is that the book was written in 1987. Like, it's not a new book. It's not a new idea. We haven't just started down this road. We have been down the idea of relative truth for decades. And we're reaping part of the cost of being down that road for so long. Objective truth, really quick, here's a quote from Aristotle, which says, "To say that which is not, and that which is not is a falsehood. Therefore, to say that which is, and that which is not, is true." I know that that's complicated and it seems self-evident, but this was what we used to believe. That if you said something that isn't in line with what reality is, then that is false. And so this is going all the way back to Aristotle. Objective moral truth, Christian view of objective moral truth is not based on cultural perception or individual perception. All that is irrelevant. What is it based on? That which corresponds to reality as it is perceived by God. It doesn't matter what you believe about any of it. What we're trying to find is, what does God believe is true? And so to do that, where do you end up going back to? But more specifically, Like the Ten Commandments, like the moral law of God. If God has a standard, and God says, this is my standard, what you and I are after is not our own standard, it is God's standard. So it doesn't matter if we think stealing is wrong all the time or right, or sometimes wrong and sometimes right. The question that you and I have to ask is, what does God think? That's the question that you and I have to be interested in. So the idea of the Ten Commandments is this 10 laws that God clearly laid out and said, this is the moral truth that I am giving. Thou shalt not steal. And so it doesn't put any qualifiers in there. There's no instance where unless this happens. Thou shalt not steal, period. Thou shalt not commit adultery, period. Thou shalt not murder, period. And so any time that we're putting qualifiers in there, we are not looking at what God has put forward. We are looking at our own relativistic viewpoint and saying, I want to believe this because I like this. And the truth is, like, who cares what you like? Who cares what I like? What we're after is, what does God like? What does God care about? And then we take that, and that is our lens through which we view the world. Now, immediately, Christians are going to say, well, that's just Christians, though. What about non-Christians? Well, if it's true for me, then it's true for all of us. Like, if it's true that God values these things, then God values those things for all of us, right? Or is it just for Christians? Is it just Christians aren't allowed to murder? Is it just Christians aren't allowed to commit adultery? No, it's to all people. So the idea that, well, you can have that as your Christian lens, but that lens can't apply in the secular world, doesn't hold true, because if God exists, then his moral law is for the world that you and I live in. But this is what we're actually after. We're after truth, God's truth. And everything else is pointless. So you take the example of the wealthy. Somebody already brought this up, but if you're looking at wealth as $500,000 or more, we all qualify as wealthy. Every single one of us. Why would that be the case? Actually, the number is a lot lower than that. I think the number is about 27,000. If it's 27,000, then you are considered wealthy by God's standards. How did I arrive there?
There are always people that have less.
Where would those people be?
Real trouble.
God's not looking at the United States as the world, right? God's looking at the world. And if you live in the United States and you are making $27,000 a year, you have more than 90% of the world out there. So if you want to tax the rich, start at $27,000, because we all fit that category. Like, the wealth resides here. And we compare ourselves to other people, but again, it doesn't matter what you think or what I think or what anybody thinks. What matters is, what does God think? And God thinks that we're all wealthy, because we are, because he's looking at the entire world. Same thing, thou shalt not steal. All stealing is wrong. Robin Hood is wrong. I don't want to burst anybody's bubble for you, but in objective truth, Robin Hood is wrong. Now, we like the story because we like stealing from the rich, giving to the poor. But that's not part of the commandment. It's not, unless you're taking from rich and giving to the poor. So objective moral truth is based on the moral law found in the Bible. So when we find our beliefs, our relative truth is coming in conflict with God's objective reality, then the problem always resides with us. Always. And not with God. And what we tend to do is we tend to say, well, I want to go this way because I believe this, therefore I'm going to make that move. The problem is always us. Our job, when our beliefs are in conflict with the moral law of God, our job is to change our minds, not to change God's moral law, if that is the standard for objective truth. And then I don't have a whole lot of time to go through this. I don't have any time to go through this. But I'll go through it very, very quickly. When you read in the Bible, what you'll find is that there's tons in the Bible on truth. And the Bible values truth immensely. And so you got Jesus on truth right down here. I'm going to have to shorten these in the future. I am the way, the truth, and the life. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Jesus talks about truth quite a bit. If you go on, Paul talks about truth, particularly seeking truth and proclaiming truth. He talks about it quite a bit. I've given you some verses up there. The wisdom of Proverbs. Proverbs is the book of wisdom. Truth is scattered throughout Proverbs. Buy the truth and sell it not. And then when you get into David and the Psalms, you get like a ton of truth, seeking truth. The Bible values truth immensely. But the truth that the Bible is putting out is always objective truth that is found in the Word of God. That is always the truth. You and I live in a crazy world where truth doesn't mean anything. So, for example, let's just say that you go on a date and you go on 3 dates with a woman, and on the 4th time you decide to surprise her at home on not a date night. And she doesn't have her hair in, and she doesn't have the push-up bra, and she doesn't have any makeup on, and she doesn't have lip fillers in, or butt fillers, whatever that is, and she doesn't have her nails done. You are going to be most likely disappointed because you have been dating something that is not the reality of what she actually is. The same thing with men with their hair and their lifts. You're going to run into truth matters, and when we encounter people not being truthful, it generally angers us. I put that up there because I just thought it would be fun. So, anyways, that's all I got for you. We're out of here. Next week, what is next week? Next week is either Nancy Oliver or freedom of speech. So, should be fun.